Those of you who love football, and in talking about football, I'm not talking about American football. I don't know why those American guys, they call that thing football and they use their hands. Where I come from, the foot is the leg and football is what you do with the feet anyway. So in our footballing world, if you are careful enough, there is a name, if I mention, you will recognize. The name is Ni Lamptey. This was a Ghanaian young prodigy, genius with football. So much so that this guy was looked at as the next biggest deal in football. But as we speak today, that man never realized his talents, his gifts, his potential, because of one thing that I'm going to share today. We're talking about developing natural gifts and natural talents, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
I have belabored the point, and it is important for me to keep belaboring this point, that there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason as to why a God put a natural gift and a natural talent in someone. Not just in someone, I think in the whole of humanity. All of us. I promised you that maybe towards the tail end of this series, I'm going to come and just give you a list of possible gifts and possible talents all over the world. Because some of you think that the guys who are gifted, the guys who are talented are only the footballers of this world, the volleyballers, the sports people, the music people, the orators, the academicians, and so on. And the rest of us, now that, we don't have the athletic body and we don't have the mind and so on, we are not talented, we're not necessarily gifted and talented. And by the way, I do these things a lot. You gather a group of people, any group of people, and you ask them, how many of you, and I've done this very many times, how many of you in this group think you do not have natural gifts and natural talents? Raise your hands up. And you know what? A big percentage of people in that group, very many groups, they raise their hands up. They totally believe that they do not have gifts and they do not have talents. And consequently, they become someone else's slave. Someone else's slave who says that in order to succeed in this life, you have to follow my system. My system says that you've got to be good academically and you've got to have some academic papers and qualifications. And without that, forget about making it in this life. Forget about being successful in this life. And all along, that's the key word, all along you are gifted. All along you are blessed with a particular talent, with a particular gift, with a particular passion for something. You are blessed with these things all along and you can do them naturally and easily. But it is so subservient, you're so subservient to the status quo and the system that you don't recognize the natural gift and the natural talent. It reminds me of the book called The Acres of Diamonds. Probably I've told you about this before and you know it. There's this guy who sells his land because he's been told that elsewhere there are people who are striking money because they have discovered a field of acres of diamonds. So he sells his land, his acres, his estates, and he rides on his donkey or whatever, his horse, and goes out there looking for diamonds. And the farmer that has bought his land comes in and digs, just a bit at the backyard, and he finds that there are diamonds in the backyard. That's the same thing. That's the same analogy with our gifts and with our talents. They are within us, around us, obvious. At times, by the way, some people have even commented you and have said, hey, what a voice you have. I mean, what kind of thinking is that? You are a funny guy. You are so funny. It's a natural gift, it's a natural talent. But you've got to do biology, physics, and chemistry and mathematics. Okay? You've got to go through the system and you've got to get your degree before you can make it in life. And at the same time, your acres of diamonds are there. Someone is cultivating those acres of diamonds. So my point is simple, that we've got to come to that level where we realize that there's got to be a reason as to why God blessed us with some gifts and some talents. There's got to be a reason. And I think we need to be bold enough, strongly bold enough, to make sure that our lives revolve around those natural gifts and those natural talents. If you're a speaker, if God gave you the gift of the gab, you can speak, you can write, let 90% of your life revolve around that. Create a system that is going to make sure that it revolves around that. And we've been discussing, let me give you a small recap. We've been talking about how we can develop these natural gifts and these natural talents. And we said that the first thing that you need to do, you give that natural gift and that natural talent, you give it a challenge. If you're not going to challenge it, put it under pressure, it's not going to develop at all. I mean, it's not going to happen. Number two, you give it a hero. Someone who is in it and is doing it. Someone who is in that particular niche and is doing wonders with that niche. If your gifting is in music, look at someone who is doing wonders in that thing and you admire them. Pit your life against them. Give your gift and the talent a hero. Number three, give it a system. It's not going to develop haphazardly. It needs to be systemized before it can develop. And number four, we say that it needs to be given a competition, active competition, because there's always going to be someone worse than you and there's always going to be someone better than you. You learn from both of them. You see how fast you are, going past someone who is slower than you. But then you realize that once you've just gone through someone who is slower, someone else passes you like you are standing and it shakes you. You realize that I have got so much to do, because you've participated in a competition. And then number five, we said, if you're going to develop that natural gift and talent, you're going to give it momentum, which is very important. Today in the podcast, let us discuss one more thing. Number six, if you're going to give your natural gift and natural talent time to grow, if you're going to grow it, if you're going to develop it, if you're going to mature it, you're going to give it what I call organized obscurity. Let me go back to Ni Lamte, the Ghanaian 18-year-old who was discovered as a genius. This man who was discovered as a genius, all of a sudden he was put on a world stage and they expected so much out of this guy. He was playing for, I think, AC Milan or something like that, big time clubs at a very young age, and every single person in the footballing world was speaking his name, Ni Lamte, Ni Lamte, Ni Lamte. And guess what happened to this guy? He couldn't live up to the billing. He just went down and down and down, and everybody forgot about him. He never even fulfilled his God-given potential. When you have a natural gift and a natural talent, you need to do what this coach of mine that I admire a lot is called Arsene Wenger. I've spoken about him previously. What he does is that he spots a natural gift and a talent in terms of potential and guards it jealously under so much clouds of obscurity and darkness, but develops it in obscurity, and at one point in time just unleashes, measuredly. If you are gifted and you're talented, the worst thing you can do is become a one-hit wonder. You rise up and you marvel people, and all of a sudden you are out. To nurture the natural gift and the natural talent, don't go for prominence. Don't go for the stage. Give me the microphone. I want to speak to the microphone. If you're a speaker, give me the microphone. I want to sing into the microphone. If you are a performer, a musician, don't rush for prominence too early. Be patient. Mature it with patience. Be patient with your gift and with your talent. Let maturity guide you. Yes, the talent and the gift sometimes can lead and so on. But also make sure that you're going there with patience. Many people seek prominence way before they are ready for it. Prominence is gonna kill you very fast and kill that natural gift and that natural talent very fast. By chance, it is given to them. This prominence we're talking about. By chance, you get this prominence and you are not mature with your natural gift and your natural talent. What is going to happen is that you're going to be overwhelmed with it. You're going to get cocky. Pride comes, and time for developing this gift and talent doesn't count anymore. That's what happened in my estimation to Neelam T. Talents, gifts, they need to be hidden in obscurity and developed until such a time of maturity that they can be released. Timing is absolutely important. Maturity is a great key in developing your natural gift and your natural talent. That's why you need to be okay with not being celebrated. You need to be okay with being obscure. When other people's names are being mentioned and left, right and center, and in your knower, if there is such a thing, you know that you are gifted and you're talented and you're good, and other people's names are the ones that are on prominence. Be patient. It's okay. Let them be in the limelight. It's fine. Don't seek for prominence. Let the gift itself elevate you and the maturity elevate you to the plate of prominence at the end of the day. Not you peddling and say, I'm gifted, I'm good in what I do, and so on and so forth. But let the measured maturity. I know there is going to be balance here. There's need for balance here, because at times you can stay in obscurity too long and your moment passes. But then it is very dangerous for you to go early into it when you're not yet mature. Obscurity is something that you don't need to be afraid of, especially if you're gifted and if you're talented. Don't be afraid of being obscure. Don't be afraid of not being mentioned on radios and on TVs and on newspapers. And you've done your craft and so on, and maybe you just have one follower or two followers. Don't be afraid of that obscurity. Don't be afraid. Don't start peddling yourself. Don't buy followers. If you're on Facebook or on Twitter, don't buy a tribe. Don't short circuit things because you want prominence. Let the gift and the talent. If there is anything you need to buy, if there is anything that you need to invest, it is in the gift, it is in the talent, not in any artificial things. Organize this obscurity. You know that one day the time will come. And when that time comes, you are good to go, you are mature enough, you have enough character that you've built inside of you, and so on and so forth, and it can uphold you on the stage of prominence. Let me tell you this, prominence demands so much more that you will be shocked. Prominence needs to be managed. You don't get into prominence without any management plan. So number 6, if you're going to fulfill your potential, you're going to organize yourself in such a way that you are okay with being obscure and you're not just looking for prominence. When the prominence comes, the obscurity, the things that you're doing in obscurity, they now come to the fore to bail you out or to sustain you or to prop you up or to keep you there. Tomorrow we're going to discuss something else, but until then, fall in love with obscurity, with your gift and your talent, and develop it while there. Bye-bye. A special shout out to my mentor Jeffrey Howard of Visionary Business University, found at mastermindmentor.com, who has graciously provided me with the soundtrack and the introductory track to this podcast. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.